We're talking about anticipating what's next. Because ultimately, it really doesn't matter if you hear about cool technology, amazing functionality, and all the things that you could do if you don't take advantage of it. If we're going to unleash the potential of our organizations and unleash the value of the finance organization, we have to be able to anticipate what's next. If we're going to step out of our comfort zone, we're looking at companies that are doing similar size and scope, things that we'd want to do. Who's doing a great experience? Who's figuring out ways to retain their talent? Who's looking at ways to grow the business, not just control expenses? We're past that. That's table stakes. We should be way beyond just figuring out how we're going to manage the expenses. We've got to figure out how we're going to grow the business. And it's everyone's responsibility. Knowing the business is critical. Because if we're going to be essential, we're going to be thought partners, we're going to anticipate what's next, we're going to challenge their thinking, we're going to have to get into the business and we're going to have to understand it. And so when we start thinking about business transformation, we've been saying digital, but you can't do transformation without changing the business. And so even as people talk about digital transformation, I'm like, well, we got to look at the people, the processes, the technologies, and we've got to make sure that we are really anticipating what's next. Because one day it's like a calm breeze on water that's calm, and the next day you're Gilligan's Island, and you're stuck on an island on some remote location. We don't want that. So when we start thinking about anticipating where we can add value, we've got to figure out how to offer more value, because it's not enough just to say we're going to change. We got to bring people along on a journey. And you know as well as I do, this is a hard area to get people to change. And so when we start thinking about all the way around to innovation, we need to be more innovative. How do we create opportunities for revenue? How do we leverage opportunities for revenue? How do we cut expenses? How do we create more meaningful experiences both for the customer and for the employee? Because if we're going to change the world, we're going to have to think about things differently. This is a different world than we grew up in, different world than any of us would have ever have foreseen. But I say that to say we really can change the world. And maybe it's not the entire world, but it's your world. It's the people you work with, your companies, your businesses, your communities. You can change the world. And I think it's important to be inclusive and inclusive of people's ideas, and to ask people who would be surprised in a meeting when you call on them. It's our introverts, it's our extroverts, it's the people coming together in a way that's going to drive more meaningful change. And I think that's what we're here for. Ultimately, when we think about what are we doing and the why, and you ask why 5 times, it is so we can change the world. It's the environments that we operate in so that we can be better.